Step 2. Adjust the network settings of the controller. Right-click on the controller again, but now select Configure. This opens AEconf, the tool that configures all network settings for this door controller. AEconf opens on the Network tab, and that's where the fun starts. By the way, the door controller is called EPU here, which stands for EOS Processing Unit, so that's how we'll call it from now on. First, give the EPU a network host name. Choose a name that makes it easy to know which EPU it is when it shows up in a list. If you want some suggestions, search in the web help for naming conventions. Make sure that the name is between 5 to 40 characters long and contains no underscores, dots or spaces. In the A-server hostname field, enter the hostname of the server where EOS is installed. If you don't know what the server hostname is, you can always ask the IT people. DHCP and DNS suffix mean that the EPU gets an IP address and a domain name automatically from the network. In most cases, you can leave both of these on. If you want to use a fixed IP address, clear the DHCP checkbox and enter the network settings manually. If your network doesn't use DNS, clear the DNS checkbox and create a host table with the EPU host table button. For more information, look at the EPU network configuration topic in the web help. In this example though, the network uses both DHCP and AutoDNS suffix, so you can leave the two checkboxes selected and move on to the Miscellaneous tab. On the Miscellaneous tab, you can find the time settings for this EPU. The EPU gets the correct time from a remote server called a Network Time Protocol server. For this to work correctly, you need to do three things. First, click the Synchronize EPU Time button to copy the time from your local computer to the EPU. This is important because if the battery strip on the EPU was just removed, a large time difference between the EPU and the NTP server can cause the NTP time synchronization to fail. Second, select the time zone of the location that the EPU is in. And third, select if the EOS server is also the NTP server. In most installations this is true, but if not, clear the checkbox and enter the hostname of the NTP server here. In this example though, the EOS server is indeed the NTP server, so you can leave the checkbox selected. EPU events are, for example, when someone presents their badge at the door. Here you can set how many of those events the EPU will remember when the connection with the server is lost. The EPU can then send them to the server as soon as the connection is restored. For most applications, the default of 10,000 is fine. Next is the authorization database option. If a door that is connected to this controller gives access to more than 20,000 carriers, select this option. This stores all the local authorization data on the EPU's flash disk instead of in its RAM. The flash disk has more space, but is also slower, and this option is not compatible with lockers. The door in this example does not have that many carriers, so you can leave the checkbox cleared. You can also set up a VPN connection in this window. If you want to do so, make sure that the EOS server is connected to the same VPN server that the EPU will connect to. Select the OpenVPN client checkbox. Click the Edit button to open the OpenVPN configuration file. Make changes as necessary. Have a look at the web help for more details. After you have made the changes, do not press the Save button, but close the editor window with the cross at the top right. Click Yes when the Save Modifications window pops up. In this example, you don't need a VPN connection, so you can click No and clear the checkbox again. Now select the Advanced tab. On the Advanced tab, you can find some extra network settings. You can leave the first setting selected. The network adapter setting was meant for very old networks so that you could select a slower connection. Nowadays, you can always leave this selected. The EOS lookup service helps all EOS components to find each other. Usually, the lookup service is installed on the same server as the EOS application. If not, clear this checkbox and enter the hostname of the lookup server in the name field. The lookup server and EOS server ports usually don't need to be changed. During the EOS setup, you can select a different Unicast Discovery and Web Server HTTPS port. If this was changed, you need to change the fields here to what was entered there. If not, or if you don't know, leave these fields as they are. Multicast discovery is the protocol that IP utility uses to find the APUs on the network when they have not been configured yet. If possible, leave this on. However, some IT departments block or forbid this protocol. If that is the case, you can turn it off here. SNMP is used in some network management systems to monitor devices in the network. Only select this if you actually want to use SNMP. For more information, see the web help. The last tab in AEconf is the Security tab. Here you can set the system to TLS secure mode and set up communication with 802.1x switches. Leave these settings alone for now. They need much more configuration than just these settings. For more information, look at the secure communication and 802.1x topics in the web help. Now that you have entered all the correct settings in AEconf, you can write them to the APU. Click the Write to Device button to store the new settings. The EPU now restarts with the new settings. As a final step, back up the EPU network settings to your computer so that you still have them if the EPU must be replaced. You're all done. All EOS components on the network, including AMON, can find this door controller now. You can now go to step 3. But that's something for another video.